there's so much violence going on, so people want to move, and then they're leaning on the cartels to move them and get them across the border. What if I am someone who is trying to get across the border? What does my lead up to that decision look like, and what happens when I say, hey, I want to do that? I know there's obviously different variables that go into, but what's the average? What would happen? What does that look like?
I mean, it depende del gato la pedrada is what they say in Mexico, depending on the cat, the size of the stone. But basically, you'll probably have a intermediary guy that you'll meet, a pollero or coyote is what they call them. Polleros means chicken rustlers, basically, and coyote means a coyote, basically. All of these people are not independent workers. There's no such thing as I'm an independent people smuggler, and I work. This is my part of the border. This doesn't work that way. They usually either work for an organization or pay for protection for an organization, get taxed by an organization. So what usually happens is that they'll see who you are. Sometimes they'll see if you have anything that they can gain from you. So if you have a family in the United States that is waiting for you, you are going to be charged a bit more, probably. Like as an example. Why? They're probably going to tax your family, or if not, they'll hold you for ransom when you cross. So why not? Why would I want to make $5,000 off you or $8,000 off you when I can make more if I just abduct you and hold you for ransom with your family? It's already in the U.S. earning dollars, and it's already settled, and they're never going to report the crime to any federal agency, which is a big aspect of why people don't see a lot of, hey, Ed, none of this is happening in the U.S. Arizona is the abduction capital of the United States. A lot of people get abducted for ransom in Arizona, for example, and just nobody hears about it. Why? Because a lot of these people don't report anything to the police.
And that's people. So on this side of the border, they're getting captured.
Yep.
And just held for ransom.
Arizona is the abduction capital of the United States, for example, and people can look that up. If I tell you this, people dressed as federal police making a raid at a house and dragging the people out and then making them disappear in acid. People would assume that happened in Mexico. That happened in San Diego, actually. And that happened in San Diego a while ago. Jeez. A while ago. It's probably 11 years ago, I think. 10 or 11 years ago. This is happening in the U.S. I mean, you don't hear about it that much, maybe. Some of these things do make the news for its level of violence. But a case can be made for the fact that gang violence in the United States dropped significantly when the Sinaloa cartel actually took over drug distribution in the United States. And it's because they killed off everybody that was making noise. You can kind of like research that if you want, but it's an interesting aspect of how things happen under the water, as we say in Mexico, in the United States, and just people don't realize.
That's wild. Again, the only thing that I feel like I hear, right? Like you see media and everyone's pumping some kind of propaganda, in my opinion. But it's with an agenda. So it's the border, and you have just thousands of people camped underneath a expressway in intense, or it's when it gets really horrific. I remember, I feel like it was a Ford Expedition. This is probably like 3 years ago. I think it was Arizona, but it had like 25 people like jammed in the car, and they got hit by a truck.
Yep.
And most of them killed. But that's that's the only time it seems like it boils up over the top there, and you hear about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, but then then COVID hits, right? And there's aisles at the supermarket that are stocked with produce. And how is that possible? Are illegal immigrants essential workers in the United States? Because we didn't see any shortages of that.
Right.
So they were pretty much out there working. So like there are these weird, I don't know, I like to call them like lies we tell ourselves, I guess. You have a country that just went through a Black Lives Matter, canceled the police, all of these things. I was actually at a few of those protests. I was at the Atlanta one. I was at Portland one as an observer, actually working as an advisor in some of these. And People screaming about slavery in the U.S. Slavery exists right now in a